while stadiums erupt with cheers, screaming fans, face paint, and jerseys. There's a silent group of people, completely unaffected. No yelling, no heartbreak, no ecstatic celebration, just calm observation. And, according to psychology, that reaction isn't indifference. It's a completely different mental operating system. Stick with me, because once you understand this, you'll never look at sports fans or yourself the same way again. Let's get one thing straight. Not caring about sports doesn't make you boring. It doesn't mean you lack emotion, energy, or passion. It doesn't mean you're disconnected from culture, or missing out on a core human experience. In fact, it often means your brain is tuned differently, prioritizing meaning, reward, and identity in ways most sports fans might never notice. Humans are tribal by nature. For thousands of years, survival depended on being part of a group. Food, protection, even childbirth, none of it worked alone. Groups weren't optional. They were life or death. Modern sports hijack that ancient wiring. Teams act like tribes, colors become symbols, and victories feel deeply personal. Fans experience bonding chemicals when their team scores. The same chemicals that tie us to family. Suddenly, watching strangers on a field feels meaningful. But here's the twist. Not everyone's brain responds the same way. People who don't care about sports often have weaker tribal instincts. Their sense of self doesn't rely on us versus them. They don't attach identity to a team, a city, or a mascot. They think independently. They're far less likely to feel triumph when strangers succeed or pain when strangers fail. Research shows that sports fans display significantly less automatic us versus them thinking. The other team winning, irrelevant. Now, let's dive into dopamine, the chemical of anticipation, reward, and addiction. For sports fans, games are micro-dopamine machines. Every play, every point, every goal is a tiny hit of excitement. Every unpredictable moment triggers a surge of reward chemicals, lighting up the same parts of the brain that respond to gambling, social media, or even certain addictive behaviors. Uncertainty makes it even more powerful. That unpredictability keeps the brain craving more. But for people who don't care, those circuits rarely activate. Watching someone else compete doesn't produce the same chemical response. Their brains simply don't treat others' achievements as personally significant. And there's more. Genetics may play a role. Variations in dopamine receptor genes can make some people more sensitive to competitive spectacle, and others more indifferent. Your lack of interest in whether the Lakers win or lose. It might literally be in your DNA. There's also something called reflected glory or bias. Sports fans often absorb team success into their own identity. We won. We lost. Non-fans rarely do this. Their self-esteem is more stable, consistent, and mostly under their own control. They don't need someone else's achievement to feel validated. Interestingly, sports fans often show high empathy, but it's targeted. Their emotional energy flows toward teams, players, and dramatic narratives. Non-sports people allocate that empathy differently. Toward relationships, friends, family, art, creative projects, nature, ideas, or personal challenges. Everyone wants emotional highs and meaningful engagement. The difference is where they find it. Sports offer a unique kind of narrative drama. Comebacks, rivalries, dynasties, underdog stories. For non-fans, that randomness can feel meaningless. Why invest emotionally in outcomes you cannot influence, involving strangers in games that have no impact on your life? Instead, non-fans pursue engagement in areas where effort equals outcome, where success is directly tied to their own actions, where rewards feel earned rather than observed. Psychologists call this the difference between parasocial investment and direct engagement. Sports fans engage in relationships, one-sided emotional investment in a team or player. Non-fans prefer direct engagement, investing energy where it affects reality. Neither is better, they're just different strategies to meet the same human needs: reward, meaning, and connection. People who don't obsess over sports often report feeling more present in their own lives. They aren't spending hours every weekend living someone else's struggle, or celebrating someone else's success. They're engaged in their own experiences, fully immersed in their personal challenges, growth, and achievements. There's a quiet power in that, a subtle kind of freedom. Some people also avoid sports as a defense mechanism. Maybe they were excluded in school. Maybe they felt uncomfortable with aggressive competitiveness. Or maybe they just never understood the fascination with yelling at a television over a ball. Indifference is valid, sometimes shaped by experience, sometimes by temperament. Ultimately, it comes down to meaning. Sports fans derive excitement and purpose from narrative and unpredictability. Non-fans find it in personal achievements, art, relationships, intellectual pursuits, or creative projects. One group experiences epic drama on the field. The other experiences it in the world they directly shape. So, if someone asks, "Did you watch the game?" and you honestly don't care, remember this: you're not broken. You're not boring. You're just playing by a different set of rules. And those rules, they might just give you an advantage others will never understand.